Liminal spaces. The spaces in between, transitioning from one place to the next. They're laced with nostalgia, but also uncertainty. Imagine the rec center, filled with Rec Room players. Now imagine that the rec center closes for the night. Everyone leaves and heads back to their dorms. The rec center's empty, no life at all. Just an eerie, empty room that's familiar. This is its liminal state, the time between one day and the next when it will eventually open back up. Liminal spaces can also be hallways or just anything that is a transition point from one thing to another. So I wanted to make my own pictures of places in Rec Room that could be considered liminal spaces. And I don't have too many rules set on how the process should go, and honestly all it really has to be is scary and familiar enough to work. But here's the rundown. I have a total of 6 rooms that I want to take pictures in. I'm going to take as many as possible, but I'm going to end this video with 6 final pictures, 1 for each room. And then after I take the in-game photos, I'm going to add some finishing edits to them in post. Also, before we start, use code RIGHT. It could be the move. The first game is registration. For those that don't know, registration was the OG login screen for Rec Room years ago before they added the bright one with the orange screen in front of you. This old login screen was super empty and low-key scary because a lot of people mentioned seeing a ghost of a person in the background when first loading in. I posted a video about that a while ago, but if you still want to watch it, I'll have it in the card up here. Anyways, to get into this room today, all you got to do is spawn in a room door in your custom room of choice and name the door registration. Look at this place, bro. That's so scary, bro. Okay, so for our first photograph, I was just gonna go ahead and use this like liminal area that already is in the game, the registration room. I started messing with camera film options that changed the look of the photo and made it more eerie. So the filter I'm gonna be using for this one is the sepia camera film, which I literally have the least of, and that's the only one I need. Like, brother, why you keep giving me the black and white? I don't need that. Dawn kind of works, but it's more nostalgic and less scary. Yo, low-key drinking this. Oh my! Also, with this settings, you can do zoom. So let's see how the zoom looks. After I tested out all the settings in the camera, I took a few photos, some with me in them and some just the lighted floor area. But I realized that putting myself in the photo would probably make it work less because it didn't feel as abandoned and just felt like it was me in an empty room for no reason. Oh my... Bro, that scared me so bad, bro. What? After I took a batch of photos, I moved on to the next room. For the next game, I decided to go for the maker room. Bro, what? The maker room. A lot of people have nostalgia for this room because it's the first thing you see when you're making a new game. Luckily with the maker room though, you can customize a whole bunch of stuff just because it's the default room. So I decided that I go in and add some things to the room to make it match the vibe I was going for. So first of all, let's get a sky dome chip because that will change the sky, and that's like the first thing we probably need. I want to add a fog chip just so we can have like that darkness effect, you know? So here's the maker room, and I already kind of messed around with it off camera, but I'll show you basically what I did. So as you can see, I've changed the sky dome out here to be a little yellow, and like it's black up there and like a little purplish black down there. And I have this darkness right here, which is a fog chip, and you have the start distance, fade distance, and all that. So let's go ahead and change it. So 18's too much. Okay, hard pause real quick, but I think 15 might be better. After messing around with all those things for a little bit, I decided it was time to move on. Yo, liminal photograph. Maker pen on floor, bro. Yo, this actually got me at my feels. I might be a contender, low-key. Let's save that. The next room I chose was Make It to Midnight, and I figured Make It to Midnight would be a good contender for a liminal space photo just because it already has an eerie atmosphere. And it low-key feels liminal already because carnivals and fairs are usually supposed to be fun and lively, but instead you're running from Bonky the Clown. Okay, here's my idea. We got Bonky right here in like the corner. Ooh, and his eyes like looking at us. Wait, that's kind of scary, bro. I initially tried doing all this in a private instance, but I couldn't get into the actual map, so I made the worst mistake of my entire life and joined a public instance. Do not do this, bro. It's not worth. Are you tweaking, bro? Why are you louder now, bro? Shut up. I'm going to crash out.
Crash out, you dirty fiend.
Can you be less loud? Oh my god.
Help me.
Where is... Yo, can I get a pic, bro? Yo! This game was really difficult to get photos of while running from a killer clown and also getting my ears destroyed, but I managed to get a couple and I moved on to the next game. The next game is Crimson Cauldron. I figured I needed to get a quest in here, so I decided to go with Crimson Cauldron. It low-key feels like the liminal space of the quests. It's essentially a sequel to Golden Trophy, and it just has a lot of similarities to the Golden Trophy, at least more than any of the other quests. Anyways, I tried to do it in a private instance, but I'm actually the worst player. No, there's no shot. So I decided to go to a public instance. Playboy Cardi, bro. No way. Yo, gay boy farty? Is that...
I'm stuck under the map.
Yo, that's tough, man.
Wait, I'll leave so you guys can play.
Thank you, man. You're a real one for that. The plan was that my team would get me through the levels while I took photos of stuff we passed, but a bunch of my public lobbies were kind of tragic and I didn't make any progress. But eventually I found the squad. Yo, is this the squad right here? What language do you speak?
I don't know speak English, sorry.
What language?
I don't speak English, sorry, I am Russian.
Russian. Hit a pose, bro. Ooh, we made it far enough into the quest that I got a handful of good pictures of areas that I thought were liminal. So that marks Crimson Cauldron off the list. And by the way, on everybody's soul but mine, we beat the quest. Trust. The next game was Paintball, but specifically Spillway, because it's a darker map with a ton of random areas that are forgettable but also nostalgic at the same time. I decided to go to a private room for this one and go around and take as many pictures as I could. Oh, this dude lurking right there. That might be a pic. Go 5 seconds. Hold up. Shut up! Wait, that's kind of fire. Shut up!
Looks like you're the first one here.
Looks like I'm gay. But after I got a few more photos in a private instance of Spillway, I figured that left me one last room, the dorm room. I figured that this would be a good room to do since every player has seen it and it's the transitional place between the entire game. I had trouble with the actual dorm room because I couldn't get the room to look scary enough to fit the vibe, but I decided to find a specific custom room to work with. I took a few pictures, but by the end of it, I felt like I didn't have much to use, so I later found an image of one of the older dorm rooms from early Rec Room days and decided to edit it later to match the liminal vibe. Now that the photography part was finished, it left the editing stage. I basically messed around in the menus and decided to edit in dullness of the colors, warped video effects and noise to make them look like they're nostalgic and almost like a lost memory. And then after I was done with editing, I had a whole bunch of photos and my final 6. But here are the final 6 and some honorable mentions that I decided to use as my final few. Firstly, the registration photo. I ended up using this photo as my liminal photo. It basically just looks pretty dark and ominous. There's not much going on, but I feel like the fact that there's not much going on kind of makes it scary. For the maker room, I went with this photo, which is very similar to the registration one, but I also had this runner-up photo with the digital effect. I just felt like it didn't fit as much. I actually really like how the recolored sky works in these ones. For Make It to Midnight, I used this photo, which I feel like it's the weaker of the photos I got, but it still fits a little with the porta potties and the familiar assets on the map. And not many people could probably look at this and know exactly where in the game this is. I also had these photos with Bonky, but I just feel like having Bonky in the photo kind of takes away from the liminal aspect. It just feels like it's just a creepy photo and there's no like empty space to it. But also it probably could work because the Bonky outfit is empty, so it technically isn't a person. But I decided that I wouldn't use those as my final one. Crimson Cauldron was probably my favorite. I ended up picking this photo of the tree when you first fight the witch, and I really like the colors and the emptiness of this one, but I had a few others that were pretty cool too. I just felt like the tree one was like the best one, but I also had these ones. Spillway was pretty good too. I had a lot to choose from, but I like this one the best because I'm peeking out at the top if you can't see. But yeah, I'd be lurking in this one. But I had a few other ones like this one from inside the blue base, and then this one which is super liminal, but I just like the one with me peeking because I was lurking, so. And then lastly, the dorm room, which I feel like this one was okay because it was just pretty hard with making the dorm room look scary enough on its own. But I used this old picture and I think it's edited decently well to where it, you know, evokes nostalgia, but it's also kind of creepy with like the darkness outside. Anyways, those are all the liminal photographs I took in Rec Room, and low-key, this was a pretty fun experiment, and I'm not like the best at taking liminal photographs. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. Use code RIGHT in the Rec Room item shop. All you gotta do is press use code and then type in RIGHT. I'll see you guys in the next video.